Hey, what's up, guys? It's CalebX01, and first of all, I just want to quickly wish everybody a happy holidays, and I hope everyone is having a good, safe December. I guess no matter what you celebrate at this time of year, I just hope everyone is in high spirits and there's good vibes going around, and I want to send you guys my best wishes, and thank you guys for the support through the year. Now, not only is today's random horror review a Christmas episode, this is also going to be my last random horror review for the year. Now, we'll be continuing the series into 2023, as well as all the other series that I feature here on my channel. They're not going anywhere. But just in general, this is probably going to be my last piece of content for 2022. However, for my subscribers and those who frequently visit my channel, or maybe today's video is the first time that you've come across my channel, I just want to make you guys aware that I have big plans for January 2023. I have big plans for the year in general, I hope, but particularly January, I have some really cool content ideas that I've been sitting on and waiting for this time of year in particular to put them all out. So I just want to make you guys aware of that now. I am currently filming this 4 days before Christmas, so pre-recording it just so it can be ready to come out on the 25th. But otherwise, as I said, this will probably be my last piece of content for the year. Just gives myself a break, but also gives me time to prepare these really cool content ideas that I have for January. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that even though, there's nothing coming probably for the rest of the year, that I'm not going anywhere and I'm really looking forward to 2023. I hope you guys have been enjoying coming across my channel and watching my content, and let's get into my random horror review now. Alright, so now moving on to my Christmas episode of my random horror review. Today's movie is one that I have seen before, however, it was a little while since I last checked it out. But to be fair, this is one that's been sitting in the back of my mind for a while actually, where I've been thinking, yeah, I really want to rewatch this one sometime. And now that we've come into the holiday season, I went perfect timing for a little bit of an out-of-the-box pick. So today's movie is The Conjuring 2. Now, I have done a review of the first Conjuring film, so if you want to check that out, and if I remember, I'll link it in the description below. But to not beat around the bush, a lot of people are going to be wondering, is this really a Christmas horror movie? And no, I don't think it is. From what I remembered of this movie, I thought a lot more of it took place on Christmas, and Christmas was more of a vibe in this one. But no, only a small portion of this movie takes place on Christmas. But I'm going to let it slide. A little bit of an out-of-the-box pick. A lot of people will be reviewing the classics, Black Christmas, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Gremlins. No, I'm bringing you Conjuring 2. I'm changing it up. As I said, too late, we're digging into it, so this is going to be today's Christmas edition of my random horror reviews. Getting into the plot for The Conjuring 2, again we follow the Warrens and one of their real-life paranormal cases. This time it takes us to London, where a family of 5, a single mum and their 4 kids, are getting haunted by these entities in their house. And, it's pretty straightforward with what you get with these possession, haunted house stories, so I'm not going to go too far into it, but let's get into my thoughts of The Conjuring 2. Now, this is the one Conjuring movie that I haven't seen in the longest time. The first one I've seen plenty of times, I know that movie pretty well, and the third one I've only seen the once, but it came out last year, so it's still pretty fresh in my mind. This one I haven't checked out in a while. Rewatching it this week, it was probably a third time watch for me. It was really good for a refresher because I really remembered enjoying this movie, and again, really dug this one. But comparing it to the first one and third one, because those two are so fresh in my mind, this one feels the most rounded, it feels the most full-on, it feels the most complete, I guess. But with all that being said, it also feels the most full-on and, in a way, over the top. There is so much going on in this movie. And don't get me wrong, I remembered there being lots of spirits and entities and different plot points going on in this one. But this time it almost felt like a little too much. And that's not me knocking the movie, just a small critique I had this time around. I guess where to start, the cast, they do such a great job. I always just find in these Conjuring movies, the child actors do such a great job. But the highlights again are Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, who play the Warrens. They're just so likable and charming, and they just have great chemistry, and they're really engaging whenever they're on screen. So again, they steal the show. But as I said, the whole cast really do a good job. It's quite an ensemble. There is Lots of actors and actresses and child actors in this one, and they all do a really good job, so I think that's a good place to start. Another thing I really liked about this movie was the change of setting and having it take place in London. It was really cool and really refreshing, especially for the Conjuring franchise, which are known for being these American haunted house movies. Having it switched up and take place in London was really cool. I loved the cold, rainy, wet feel. It really set the mood and almost made it feel more haunted and more creepy. I just really enjoyed it this time around. And just having it take place, as I said, even though it's a small part of the movie, around Christmas as well. I don't know, the vibe and the way that this movie felt was also something that I really enjoyed. Now, going back to an issue that I sort of mentioned earlier, it almost feels like there's too much going on in this movie, and going into the film this time, I did remember from previous watches that there's lots of different spirits and entities and twists and turns that go into this Conjuring film, but it almost just feels like too much, starting with, I guess, the spirits and the ghosts and the villains, you would say, in this movie. Our main villain, to not spoil anything, but I guess a lot of people have seen this movie, we get our introduction to Vladik the Nun. I just find her underwhelming as a Conjuring villain. I don't find her too scary. I'm not too entertained by her. I wasn't a big fan of the Nun spin-off movie, and I'm not a big fan of her in this one either. I don't know, I know a lot of people find her really creepy, and, she's somewhat a modern horror icon, but I don't know, it sort of passes me. I don't really get it. I much preferred the old man spirit in this movie. I thought he was really creepy and really cool. I liked that. I also really liked the crooked man. And I understand that they're in this movie to push Vladik forward as a bigger threat. But, as I said, didn't really feel a connection to her. I really liked the creepy old man, the crooked man. And if it was maybe a more straightforward haunted house ghost story with those two, I would have liked it more, but I don't know, I don't want to take too much away from it. I just wasn't a big fan of Vladik and still am not. But what I really did like was the story and the reveals and the twists and turns. As I said, there's a few twists and turns in this one and a few reveals that happen more so towards the end, and I really did enjoy them. The story in this one is really good, so I don't want to take anything away from that. So I'm going to sort of wrap up my review here. I feel like I've dawdled on along talking for this one for a while, especially for the fact that I feel like a lot of people have checked this one out before. But to rate The Conjuring 2, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I feel like it's probably the most underrated in the Conjuring franchise. Obviously, the first one, I did put it in my top 10 modern horror classics. I just think it's a great film, and even though I'm not the biggest fan of haunted house possession type movies, I feel like it really does hold its own as a modern staple of that subgenre. And the third one, I think a lot of people really enjoyed that one, even though I didn't. I feel like this one really flies under the radar, so if you haven't checked out The Conjuring 2, I definitely would recommend it. So there we go, thank you for joining me guys for this Christmas episode of my random horror reviews, and also my last piece of content for 2022. As I mentioned earlier, I will be returning right at the start of January 2023, where I have some really cool content lined up, some really cool ideas that hopefully you guys will enjoy too. But as I said, thank you for joining me guys, all my horror fans out there. I hope you're watching some really cool flicks. If you've seen The Conjuring 2 and have some thoughts on it, sure to leave them in the comments below, or if you've just checked out some really cool movies recently, feel free to talk about them below also. I'll do my best to reply to all the comments. But thank you for joining me again guys, thank you for all your support through this year. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode, and I want to wish everyone the best holiday season, and hopefully everyone's safe and well, and I will see you in 2023. Peace.